So, I've been thinking a lot about dialogue recently, particularly those lines that make you go,
Yes! Yes!
and while I could describe dozens of ways to induce such a reaction, I decided to stick with the one that worked most recently. While watching the assassin extravaganza, Kill Bill, I once again fell victim to notorious screenwriter Quentin Tarantino, who, with a single line, gave his main character, the bride, unprecedented levels of badassery, pushing even beyond what she had already achieved with her impressive fight scenes earlier in the film. Recounting the events that set her on a path for vengeance, the bride talks about her first victim, O-Rin Ishii.
At 25, she did her part in the killing of 9 innocent people, including my unborn daughter, in a small wedding chapel in El Paso, Texas. But on that day, 4 years ago, she made one big mistake. She should have killed 10.
Let's go, boy! Yeah!
Yeah, that was my reaction too. Even though I've heard this line many times before, this short bit of narration had never really stood out to me. That is, until today. Let's break it down. First of all, the bride describes O-Rin's actions, highlighting the specific victim that drives her, the daughter she never had, which not only reaffirms the bride's motivations for this vengeance, but also identifies her emotional core, revealing the still lingering impact of what O-Rin and the other killers took from her. It doesn't just tell us why she wants them dead, but also alludes to the negative emotions she feels at this moment. Secondly, the line creates anticipation, using the word but to indicate a turning point in the bride's emotion, going from a position of weakness to one of strength, from a victim to the perpetrator. If instead of but it had said and or yet, it wouldn't have felt like the energy was shifting in the same way, like the vibes leading up to the conjunction would soon change dramatically. To create even more anticipation, the line then vaguely refers to something rather than simply saying what that thing is, forcing you to wait for it. Like, what is this mistake? The line even adds a descriptor with the adjective big, making this unknown mistake feel even more important, which further increases our anticipation. Finally, the line clarifies O-Rin's mistake, but does so by putting it in relation to a previous detail, the antecedent, forcing it to operate in conjunction with it. That little detail of the 9 people O-Rin and the Vipers killed operates as a puzzle piece that the last bit, the she should have killed 10, connects back to, making the entire line cohesive, a single unit that would feel incomplete if even a single detail were removed. The last phrase creates a sense of completion to a detail that didn't at first feel incomplete, simultaneously revealing the existence of a missing element and what that missing element is. Essentially, it made an already complete line somehow feel even more complete by adding something we didn't even know it needed. However, without knowing about the 9 victims, the number 10 would have no meaning, but with the knowledge of the 9, we understand that a 10th victim would mean that the bride died too, so basically, it creates a more interesting way of saying O-Rin should have killed her. It makes the viewing a bit more active and rewards the audience for paying attention to the details, that sense of satisfaction arising from the completion of this mini puzzle, that feeling when everything clicks. The badassery comes in with the bride's confidence, her implicit declaration of the danger she presents to O-Rin, as if the only chance she had against her disappeared when she and the other Vipers failed to kill her 4 years ago. Unfortunately for O-Rin, that time has passed, and the bride is now coming after her. She should have killed 10, but she didn't. She only killed 9. To summarize, I think this line worked so well for me because of how it creates anticipation and references itself, not only building on its details, but making them feel necessary, like the line is only truly complete with their inclusion. It could have said, but on that day 4 years ago, she should have killed 10. But without saying she made one big mistake, it wouldn't have felt as epic because it removes the clear buildup. It also could have said, but on that day 4 years ago, she made one big mistake. She should have killed me. But this wouldn't have felt as complete because it doesn't reference anything from before. Without the 10, it doesn't make the previous details feel more necessary, ultimately taking away that sense of satisfaction. Now, this isn't Tarantino's most impressive or interesting piece of writing, but it still gave me a memorable reaction, so I thought I should talk about it. Anyway, I actually had a pretty hard time finding more examples of these kinds of lines, so comment any more that you know about. Thanks for watching.